Yeah, so first I want to just say that it's not about money. It was not like, okay, I felt like, okay, I had this much money in my piggy bank, so I could like hang out for a year, I could figure things out, I could do this or that. Like, I just never had any intention. I didn't take a single day off in between. I just kind of, I resigned during my notice period. I actually enrolled myself in like this hardcore coding boot camp, which literally broke down every iota of confidence I had in my body. I was like the worst and oldest programmer in this class. It was like nerve wracking experience for 3 months of my life. And I went straight into it. So because a lot of people ask me that, and it's like, oh well, you had the resources, and no, I don't think it was that. I just um, it felt very stupid at the time. It felt scary and nerve wracking, and initial like you have this. It's like you have this like. There's somebody needs to like figure out what are like the 5 stages of creating a startup. There's stupidity, then there's creativity, then there's confidence, then there's like a complete meltdown of confidence, and then there's like a slow rebuilding and execution, and that path takes like forever, right? And it literally was like that. It's just like you act, and then you're like, oh shit, this is like actually going to be really, 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 really hard.
Or yeah.
and then and then you're like, okay, where do I get started? And then you're like, how do I hire somebody? And the weird, the crazy, crazy thing is like when you work at like a place like CSFB, at a big hedge fund or whatever, like at places like that, you can like you can take a piss all day long on people's CVs. It's like, oh, somebody from Harvard and they missed a grammar issue here. Yeah, scrap it. Like, like you have the benefit and the luxury of just basically having a open door, revolving door of talent that comes in. And I particularly like, like I've always been like, I've always like been very focused on recruiting the best people. And I always had the luxury of recruiting great people because I was sitting in a seat, not because it was me, right? Most of those people probably thought I was an asshole, but like, but it's crazy humbling when you start out and like, guess what? Nobody cares. Like, no, thanks. You have an idea, wonderful, great. Like, or like, unless you can like pay people a lot of money, or if you pay people a lot of money to join your company, they're not the right people. Like, and your equity's not worth anything. Nobody knows who you are. So it's like, it's a really humbling experience to start out, especially because I was on my own. I didn't have a co-founder who would co-found such a silly idea with me anyway. And being in Singapore, especially, like, it's not San Francisco, it's not New York City, where there is that tolerance for risk taking. And so yeah, I think it was, I think that it was really a struggle in the beginning to just know where this was going. And I think that there were many days where it was just like, okay, I don't have no idea if what we're doing today is actually going to get us to the next stage. But you just kind of, you realize is like, actually your job right now is to learn as quickly and type as possible. And part of that learning process is literally trying all these things, like it took Edison, whatever, 10,000 failures before finally the light bulb lit up, right? And so it's kind of like the same thing. You just need to do that really, really fast. And I think that if you've got that mindset that you don't let like failure bother you, then then you've got then you have a good shot at succeeding.